From national races to local races, we've got you covered. Coming up this morning on KRIS 6 Sunrise, we have a look at the results from Election Day here in the Coastal Bend. Plus, today officially marks day 36 of the federal government shutdown. Why some say a deal, might be on the horizon. Plus,
the Alice Memorial Stadium is on track. I'm Melissa Trevino taking a look at the stadium's progress and what's next.
Good morning, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in to KRIS 6 Sunrise. I'm Brian Hoffman. Michelle has the day off. Let's start things off by turning it over to meteorologist Diamond Dixon. She's filling in for Stephen Jones. Thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate you. We know it's a struggle bus sometimes going from evening shift to morning shift, but here you are.
Here I am, that's right, Brian, and we're matching in our navy blue today. Well, we're feeling the blues this Wednesday. Traffic's also looking pretty good in our neighborhoods as well. We usually start to see traffic pick up closer to that 6:30 hour, but nonetheless, we can see what's going on in your neighborhoods. Our traffic flow right now from Portland to the Harbor Bridge is still looking good and green in both directions, so there's no issues if you are headed in that direction. We take it on over to our main three roads here. Ocean Drive also looking good this morning, as well as SPID and also along Saratoga. Maybe those school drop-offs haven't happened just yet, but we'll keep an eye out for that. Now, Waldron Road does have a little bit more of a slowdown than what we saw in our 5 o'clock hour, and there's still a slowdown along Flower Bluff Drive headed in both directions. So just be mindful of that minor slowdown that you could see in your commute. The JFK Causeway also looking good this morning as well. Here's a look at your AM drive times. Depending on where you're headed, anywhere between 8 and 21 minutes. For the most part, it's looking good out there and clear, so you can get on out there with no issues. We'll have more news and weather on the way.
Diamond, thank you so much. Appreciate you. So we're going to get to your local election results in just a bit, folks. But first, voters across the country took to the polls yesterday for a host of key off-cycle races. It seemed to be a bit of a blue wave, too. The governor's race in New Jersey saw Democratic Representative Mickey Sherrill win against Trump-backed Jackie Ciattarelli, replacing Democrat Phil Murphy. So over in New York City, voters chose Democratic nominee Zoran Mamdani as their new mayor. Over in Virginia, former Democratic Representative Abigail Spanberger has become the Commonwealth's first female governor. And voters in California approved a ballot measure to redraw the congressional map in favor of Democrats. The referendum, known as Prop 50, came in response to similar efforts in Republican-led states, including right here in Texas. Well, back here at home, there were 17 propositions from property taxes to border security funding that were on the ballot. Let's break down a couple of them for you and look at the results. So Proposition 1 would create a dedicated fund for Texas State Technical College. It would help pay for new buildings, equipment, and job training programs. That could be right here in Corpus Christi at Del Mar College and other Coastal Bend campuses. As you can see, 69% of the voters approved that one, with 97 reporting in. Proposition 2, that's a capital gains tax ban, and it would lock in a ban on state taxing profits from investments or assets sold, even unsold gains, primarily benefiting those better off, right? Well, 65.8% of voters approved that one. But Proposition 3, that's bail reform. If passed, it would allow judges to deny bail for people accused of certain violent or sexual felonies if there's strong evidence that they're dangerous or might jump bail. 61.5% of voters said yes on that one. And hey, for the rest of the 17 propositions, head on over to our website. That's KRISTV.com. But we're going to check out real quick the Nueces County ballot. 3 separate proposals that would annex new areas to emergency service districts. Emergency Service District number 1, Prop A, as you can see, 67.6% on that one. What about Emergency Service Districts number 1, Prop B? 69.9% said yes on that, with 100% in. And Emergency Service District number 3, annexation, well, that is 73% on the dot, so that one passes on through. Emergency Service District number 4, Prop A, well, that is 63.9% of the vote on that one. For the rest of these results, again, head on over to our website, KRISTV.com. Well, today is the 36th day of the federal government shutdown, and looks like we're making records, folks. It is the longest such closure in U.S. history. Now, some senators in both parties appear to be working together on a possible plan to reopen the government. Amy Kiley has the latest.
Fortunately, this nightmare is going to end for our federal employees and those that depend on SNAP.
As of today, the government shutdown is now the longest in U.S. history. Several senators are tentatively predicting it could end soon.
I'm optimistic that we should be able to get something done this week.
Multiple sources say a possible deal between senators is being negotiated. It involves some kind of stopgap funding bill and a promise to vote later on rising Obamacare subsidies. Some Democrats say that's not good enough for people facing skyrocketing health care costs.
We need to stand firm for the real interests of the American people.
But two sources say about a dozen Democratic senators have privately signaled an openness to such a plan. If Republicans agree, that would be enough votes for the chamber to pass the bill.
As the days roll by, the consequences and pain of the shutdown grow more severe for the American people.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Welcome back there, Coastal Bend. Meteorologist Ivan Dixon here with the live look outside our First Community Bank Skycam over the USS Lexington, and we see our new Harbor Bridge in the background. Well, once again, it's 6:06 this morning. Here's what we can expect a little bit of this week. So we're looking at a temperature warm up from today through Saturday. So I know that's not what we really want to hear. It's fall. We want fall-like weather. It's just going to take us a few rounds to get there. Now, we're going to also see mostly sunshine this week as well. No rain chances really, particularly in the forecast. And we have a light cold front that arrives Sunday that will then cool us off a bit into Sunday, but mainly impacting those temperatures Monday and Tuesday of next week. Right now, our temperatures right now in our neighborhoods, 55 for here in Corpus Christi. That's also the same for Robstown and Kingsville. We're also looking at 59 for Beeville, 58 for Freer, and 54 for San Diego and Falfurrias. A little bit warmer along the coast. We're looking at 60s for the Naval Air Station and 70s for Port Aransas. And of course, at this hour, winds are going to be pretty light for the most part, under 10 miles per hour. We'll actually see our winds increase a little bit later on in the afternoon, closer to 4 o'clock. Now, those feel like temperatures for today, mainly we're looking at the afternoon since we are talking about a temperature warm up between 12 and about 4 o'clock. We're going to be feeling like those 80s, closer to mid 80s by 2 o'clock. But we're starting to see our warmest temperature a little bit earlier in the afternoon, closer to 1 o'clock. Those 70s for feel like temperatures hang out in the forecast between about 5 and 8, and those 60s will carry us from 10 p.m. a little bit there into 4 a.m. before we get back to those upper 50s into our sunrise hours. We spent a lot of time in the 60s in the past 10 hours as well, and now we've been hanging out in the 50s range since 2 a.m. But we'll eventually warm up this morning as well and get back into the 60s and 70s and then those 80s. Now, yesterday we hit a high of 83 degrees. The average, remember, for this week is 79. So at least we're not close to record heat at 98, but we will be back in those 80s today. 87 here for Corpus Christi is what we're looking like. And as we go hour by hour, you'll see that gradual warm up on your screen. Getting into the 80s officially by 11 this morning, 84 by 1 o'clock, and we could see that warmer period between 2 and 4, closer to that 2 o'clock hour, back in the 70s by 5 o'clock this evening. So I'll have more of your weather forecast on the way.
Well, hey, the Supreme Court is set to hear arguments today on President Trump's use of tariffs. Coming up after the break, Scripps News Group's Joe St. George is going to join us and break down the case for us. Welcome back, folks. 6:12 is your time, getting a live look from our SPID Skycam. Traffic seems to be flowing pretty nicely, although it is picking up quite a bit. We're going to be checking in on the rest of the roads, plus, of course, the weather with meteorologist Diamond Dixon in for Stephen Jones this morning. Well, but first, we got some national news to talk about. The Supreme Court will hear arguments today on whether President Trump has overstepped federal law with many of his tariffs. Now, Trump has used tariffs, or even just the threat of them, leveraging them to advance his economic agenda and foreign policy goals. To talk more about this, we're bringing on in Deputy Political Director Joe St. George. Hey, good morning, Joe. Good to see you, sir. Can you break down this case for our viewers? And is there a chance that the president will attend oral arguments?
Well, there was a chance. In fact, he teased the idea several weeks ago, but in recent days he shot it down, basically saying that he didn't want to be a distraction. The Supreme Court is a place that likes a tradition that certainly would have created a bit of a ruckus, to say the least, here at the Supreme Court. So we're not anticipating that today, but we are anticipating one of, if not the biggest case for the Supreme Court here in 2025. President Trump is setting the bar even higher, saying it's one of the biggest cases in the history of the U.S. Supreme Court. What's it about? It's about what have we talked about so many mornings? Tariffs, right? Tariffs on China and Canada and on Mexico, pretty much every country on the planet. Well, it's been a defining economic policy of President Trump. But can he do it legally? Can he continue to do what he's been doing? Remember, the president hasn't been asking Congress for these tariffs, permission. No, he's been doing it on his own, and he's been using a 1970s era law to justify it. Well, that law, the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, is it's really the question before the court today. The businesses suing the Trump administration over these tariffs say, wait a minute, that law doesn't explicitly give President Trump these powers. President Trump obviously believes that it does. How the high court rules today will impact the president's ability to issue tariffs going forward. These tariffs have generated $90 billion at least or so since the Trump administration began implementing them. It's been a new source of revenue for the Treasury Department. It's also a big case about presidential power. Remember what the high court has done in recent years. They've expanded it a bit in some cases. Remember presidential immunity? That was an opinion from the Supreme Court. During the Biden years, though, they did restrict it. President Biden was trying to interpret a law to his liking to implement widespread student loan forgiveness. The Supreme Court rejected that offer. What do they do here? A big question. Even though it's a 6-3 conservative-leaning Supreme Court, that doesn't mean that President Trump's guaranteed a victory here. Today is only oral arguments. It will be several months, most likely, before we get an opinion.
We will be standing by for that one. Joe, thank you so much for your time today. Looking forward to talking again very soon.
Welcome on back there, Coastal Bend. Meteorologist Simon Dixon here. Well, we have a beautiful pre-sunrise off our CCAC camera over at Snoopy's Pier. It's 6:15 this morning. It's not our official sunrise time, but I think that's a great capture if you ask me. Beautiful hues going on. Stunner of a picture. Well, we'll look at what's happening in your neighborhoods from our current conditions. Well, right now we're looking at for Corpus Christi 55, Beeville's at 57, also at 57 is Alice, and also at 55 with us here in Corpus Christi is Kingsville, and 56 for Hepburnville. A little warmer as expected by the Naval Air Station at 64, 72 for Port Aransas, and our visibility is looking pretty good this morning as well. Almost everyone has full visibility, so that is good news. Looking at our temperatures, we just saw those kind of broken down, but what we'll see on this one that's a little bit different are feels like temperatures. They're pretty much right on par with our actual air temperature. That has a lot to do with the fact that our air is still pretty dry right now, but that all changes headed into this afternoon and headed into the rest of the week as we gradually get closer to our Saturday. That's where we start to see our warming trend really pick up. Closer to Friday and Saturday, temperatures are going to be close to those lower 90s in our neighborhoods. Well, this is a picture of Walter, and Walter is out of B County, and if he wants to go on his walk, well, temperatures are going to look and feel pretty nice. At 8 a.m. we'll be around 66 degrees, also then 76 by 10 a.m. By noon, we're looking at lower 80s, 81 degrees. So overall, it's still going to be a good time, and there's no rain in the forecast. But hour by hour, we'll see 80s pop up into those forecasts by 11 a.m. We get closer to the mid 80s by 1 p.m. We're starting to see our high of the day a little bit sooner, so we can see that between 1 and 3 versus our typical 2 to 4 window. We'll come out of those 80s close to 5 o'clock tonight. Southeast wind picks up also just a little bit. 30 13 miles per hour. By the time we get to 7 o'clock, we'll be in those lower 70s at 73 degrees. So you can expect to see those upper 80s in a lot of our neighborhoods today for our high. And once again, the average is 79. So some of us will see almost 10 degrees warmer than the average. And we can also talk about muggy meter. How I mentioned, we're still in the dry category. We're going to gradually increase those dew points to muggy, humid, and on the cusp there of very humid before we take a sharp decline into Sunday. That's our cold front moving through. It's a lighter cold front nonetheless, but it will pull our temperatures out of the above average category to where we will be below 79 degrees. So we'll look forward to that. In the meantime, once again, stay tuned for the forecast coming up.
The Alice Memorial Stadium is on track. I'm Melissa Trevino taking a look at the stadium's progress and what's next.
All right, folks, we're taking a look at grocery prices. This is especially important for those folks that aren't going to be getting their SNAP benefits right now. So we're giving you the prices that give you the most bang for your buck, according to the retailer's website as of this morning. Let's start out with the price of eggs, shall we? We're going to get there eventually. Oh, I'm just going to tell you about them then. Third place, we're sitting at Target, $2.39 per dozen. There they are. Hello. Second place, H-E-B, $2.12. And then first place is Walmart, $1.97. On to a loaf of bread now. Target, third place. Walmart, second place. Then the cheapest I was able to find, $1.28 H-E-B. Never beat that dollar French bread loaf, though, can we? Next up, gallon of milk. This is where we saw some changes, right? Walmart, $2.87. Target, $2.79. H-E-B came in clutch and reduced their prices a bit, $2.52. Let's wrap things on up with some protein. Pound of ground beef will cost you $6.49 over at Target. A little bit cheaper over at Walmart, $4.79. Winner, ground beef dinner, Walmart. It is going to be $4.44. As always, you can find cheaper prices than these guys. Want to throw them in your cart while you can? I'll have all these prices posted for you on our website, KrisTV.com.
Well, you know what time it is. Time to get another look at traffic. It's 6:23, and we have a live look outside our First Community Bank Skycam overlooking the USS Lexington and our new Harbor Bridge. Beautiful view that is. Well, we'll take a look at our traffic to see how we're looking locally. From Portland to the Harbor Bridge, as we just saw in our background, always looking good and green. Never really too many issues along that route, so it's always good news. Ocean Drive looking good as well, and Saratoga. And along Saratoga also in SPID, they're still looking good, but there's a minor slowdown close to Airline Road there. We'll take it over Walton Road. Still seeing that slowdown in place that we've seen even for the past hour. Flower Bluff drives look to have improved in the past half hour, and the JFK Causeway also looking good as well this morning. As we head into wherever you're headed, those drive times still look to be good between 8 and 22 minutes, so traffic looks all good and clear. Be safe out there on those roads. Well, good morning there again, Coastal Bend. Meteorologist Diamond Dixon here. We have a look outside our CCAC camera over at Snoopy's Pier. Once again, we're preparing for a beautiful sunrise this morning. Our view keeps changing across the minutes, but it's more and more gorgeous as we go on. We have a beautiful day ahead of us as well, but temperatures do start to take a little bit of a warm up in our neighborhood. So no, that's not what you want to hear, but we'll have better weather headed into next week. How about that? Well, my head is covering our supermoon, but we'll take it full screen. We have our live look outside our First Community Bank Skycam over the USS Lexington, New Harbor Bridge, but off into the right corner of your screen, you can see our Beaver Moon. That's just November's supermoon. But right now, headed even into our 7 o'clock hour, about 7:19 this morning, it's going to be at its peak, its closest proximity to Earth, and it's going to be 14% larger to us and 30% brighter. We've even had some of our neighbors taking pictures even last night. This is out of B County. Once again, stunning images that you all are able to capture. Once again, and this one is from, and I'll take a peek at the name, Jody Wilson. That's right. So great pictures here. And if you have pictures from this morning, please share them in our Coastal Bend Weather Watchers group. The next moon like that will be in December. Well, temperatures and feels like right now we're at 55 in Corpus Christi, and same for Robstown and Kingsville and George West. We're looking at 59 for Beeville and Ingleside, and 58 for Freer. A little warmer along the coast as expected, 64 for the Naval Air Station and 71 for Port Aransas. We will start to feel that temperature warm up starting around 12 up until 4 o'clock in the 80s range. We're here in Corpus Christi. We'll hang out in those 70s, feels like temperatures between 6 and 8, and those 60s really carry us from 10 o'clock up until 4 a.m. right before our sunrise on Thursday. We're looking at a high of 87 degrees here in Corpus Christi, mostly sunny skies as well. We take that gradual temperature warm up headed into Saturday. That's where we'll see temperatures even rising into the low 90s between Friday and Saturday before we get a temperature cool down. We will start to see the 70s in the forecast between 9 and 10, 80s into the forecast at 11. We get close to those mid 80s by 1 this afternoon. That lasts up until 3 and 4, back into those 70s by 5 o'clock. Our southeast wind takes a slight increase as well, around 13 miles per hour. Not too crazy. Back by 7 o'clock, we'll be back into those lower 70s with the southeast wind around 10 miles per hour. But if you're wondering what highs look like in your neighborhood this afternoon, we're going to see a little bit of a range between 77 and about 87 degrees. Could get even warmer, especially more out west and to the south. Our average for this week is 79 degrees. So you can see that some of us will be close to almost 10 degrees over our average. Rain chances also remain very light in the forecast, pretty much non-existent. We have really dry air this week, and our average high kind of struggling right now. It's close to be closer to 75, but we're still seeing some temperatures above 80s. We still need some strong cold fronts in the forecast to help us out. With that cold front that's coming on Sunday, it will help lower our temperatures on Monday and Tuesday below average, which once again is 79, before temperatures start to increase again. So as far as what this week looks like, we'll have the 80s in the forecast for a couple of days. And then we start to see those lower 90s. Once again, by Friday and Saturday, we start to get that cool down into Sunday afternoon because the cold front moves through between morning and early afternoon. But Monday and Tuesday also look really nice of next week. We're talking the 70s.
Veteran in need, you'll want to stick around, folks. Coming up after the break, we'll tell you all about an event on Thursday that could make all the difference.
This is Veterans in Focus, sponsored by the Heil Law Firm, battling for justice, winning for the community.
So it's almost Veterans Day, and before the holiday, several local groups are actually coming together to give thanks and to help those in need at the annual Veterans Stand Down. Now, to talk about this event, we have Martin Longoria here with us with the Mayor's Committee for Veteran Affairs. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Now, this is a very important event, and you guys have been hosting this for years. But for those who don't know about it, can you just tell us what's going to go on?
So what this event is we bring all the resources that can assist homeless veterans or veterans that are going to be hopeless. It's giving them a hand up, not a hand down. So we bring all the resources: Texas Veterans Commission, benefits, health, suicide prevention, mental health, and HEB, the food bank. You just provide services that they don't get on a daily basis, and we've been doing this like 12 years already.
And I know this is a homeless veteran stand down, but does this also apply to anybody who might need help?
Yes, the homeless population, it just keeps growing. I do see an increase in that, and we're preparing the best way we can. We try to do a little bit of everything.
And you know what, Martin, since I've moved here, actually, I've been blessed enough to witness the impact that the Veterans Stand Down has, because I've gone every year, interviewed some folks. In fact, we're going to show you guys a clip right now.
This is a fellowship. Every one of us here done been through the game. The good, the bad, and ugly. Some of us can't even meet. Some of us here, they living in the street. This is an opportunity for them to pick themselves up if they want to.
As for the public that is watching this right now, is there any way they can help?
Well, if they know of a veteran that's going to be homeless or about to go homeless, this is a great opportunity, for them either to bring them or let them know when where it's at.
Well, thank you so much, Martin.
Thank you for having me, ma'am. Thank you for helping us get the word out.
Now, folks, make sure you help us spread the word. The Veterans Stand Down is going to be at 311 North Staple Street, November 6th. That's a Thursday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. From the studio, I'm Michelle Hoffman with this week's Veterans in Focus.
Welcome on back there, Coastal Vet Meteorologist Diamond Dixon here with the live look outside our CCAC camera over at Snoopy's Pier. Still, this approach to our sunrise is absolutely beautiful. Blue hues, a little bit of pink, and then we go right on into our sky. Hope you're enjoying your Wednesday so far, or maybe you're just waking up since it is 6:36 in the morning. Well, here's what we can expect this week. Temperatures are taking a warm up today through Saturday, so you can expect to see and feel a little bit warmer up until Sunday. No rain chances this week, but a light cold front moves through on Sunday that will help us feel more like fall again. A lot of us are sitting in the 50s right now, a little bit warmer near the coast. Our feels likes are right on par with our actual air temperature because it is drier outside. Current winds are also pretty light as well, so we don't have any issues there. They'll pick up later on this afternoon. If you're walking your dog, this is Walter. It's always a good time to walk the dog. Temperatures will be nice between 8 and 12, and even thereon after, we'll be around 76 at 10 a.m. By 12, we're looking at those low 80s, 81 degrees. Also, though, looking at a high of 87 here in Corpus Christi with mostly sunny skies. A lot of our neighborhoods will also be seeing the mid-80s across our neighborhoods. Remember that average is 79 for this week. I'll have more weather on the way.
Now, 20 minutes of non-stop news, sponsored by Ewald Kubota.
Hey, welcome back, folks. Thank you so much for joining us for our 20 minutes of non-stop news with singular Hoffman, as Michelle actually has today off. I'm Brian Hoffman. So we have plenty of neighborhood news to get to for you this morning, but first off, let's check in with meteorologist Diamond Dixon. She is holding down the fort. How you doing, Diamond?
Hey, doing well, Brian. That's right. We both got on our navy blue, feeling the blues this Wednesday, midweek blues, but we're making it together. And traffic has been pretty good this morning as well. You might not like the weather so much as the temperature warm-up is on the way, headed into the weekend, but we'll have a lighter cold front that'll help us out. Temperature-wise, as far as how we're looking. Traffic-wise, looking pretty good. No issues really this morning. We've seen a couple of slowdowns from Portland to the Harbor Bridge. Always looking good in green for us. Once again, no issues in either direction. We look at Ocean Drive, also still looking good, as well as SPID. There's still a minor slowdown just along Airline Road this morning. And as we take it to Waldron Road, there's still that slowdown in place that's been there since our 5 o'clock hour. And along Flower Bluff Drive, it has improved in the last half hour as well. Just a minor slowdown, and the JFK Causeway also looking good this morning. We take it on over to our actual drive times, depending on where you're headed, anywhere between 8 and 22 minutes, but overall our color is green, so that's good news. Hope you stay safe on those roads out there.
Diamond, appreciate you. We're going to get to your local election results in just a bit, folks. But first, voters across the country took to the polls yesterday for a host of key off-cycle races. It appeared to be a bit of a blue wave, too. The governor's race in New Jersey, it saw Democratic Representative Mick Sherrill win against Trump-backed Jack Ciattarelli. It's, of course, replacing Democrat Phil Murphy. Over in New York City, voters chose Democratic nominee Zoran Mamdani as their new mayor. In Virginia, former Democratic Representative Abigail Spanberger became the Commonwealth's first female governor. And voters in California approved a ballot measure to redraw the congressional maps in favor of Democrats. The referendum, known as Prop 50, came in response to similar efforts in Republican-led states, including, especially here in Texas. Well, back here at home, there were 17 propositions, from property taxes to border security funding, that were on the ballot. Let's break down just a couple for you, shall we? Well, Proposition 1 would create a dedicated fund for Texas State Technical College. It would pay help pay for new buildings, equipment, and job training programs. That could be right here in Corpus Christi over at Del Mar College and other Coastal Bend campuses. As you can see, 69.1% of the vote went for it. On to Proposition 2, that's a capital gains tax ban. It would lock in a ban on state taxing profits from investments or assets sold, even unsold gains. As you can see, 65.8% of the vote was for it, with 97% voting in. Well, hey, Proposition 3, that's bail reform. If passed, it would allow judges to deny bail for people accused of certain violent or sexual felonies if there's strong evidence that they are dangerous, or might jump that bail. 61.5% voted for that. And for the rest of the 17 propositions, you can always head to our website, christv.com. Well, there were many races in San Patricio County, including proposed tax increases, but the city of Taft actually had voters picking their next leaders. Based on 100% of the votes counted, the unofficial results have Mayor Pro Tem Elida Castillo as the projected winner for the mayoral race. For Ward 1, Esmeralda Mimi Cruz took 53% of the votes, and Ward 2 will have Maria Morano representing them after she received 38% of the vote. Neighbor News reporter Adam Beam spoke with Castillo following Tuesday's results.
I think this is a right step forward. They did make a decision. They want more accountability. They want community engagement. They want people who listen to them. And, they knew that we were going to be their voice. And so we are ready to, have a government for the people.
All three candidates will be sworn in during a special council meeting on Wednesday, November 12th. And the race for mayor for Robstown, that's heading to a runoff. The final results had Mary Ann Sines finishing first with 40.45% of the vote, followed closely by current mayor Petey Martinez, who received 37.2% of the vote. Homer Villarreal placed third with 12.33%, and Eva Elizondo Oreno finished with 9.99%. Under Robstown election rules, candidates must win a majority with more than 50% of the vote. So since no one reached that threshold, Sines and Martinez will face off in a runoff election. For more election results, head on over to our website, christv.com.
Well, can we talk about this beaver moon? Stunning, stunning picture there. This is a live look off our First Community Bank Skycam over the USS Lexington, but we had to get a closer image of our beaver moon, November's supermoon. So right now, headed into 7/19 is where it'll reach its full peakness for us. It's going to appear 14% larger, 30% brighter, and it's going to be about the closest it is to Earth, around 221,000 miles away. But it looks like we could just touch it. I just did. Well, looking at even our pictures from Coastal Bend Weather Watchers, our weather watchers have shared pictures from last night. This is out of B County. You get the best pictures out of this group, I promise you, and we get to share them in our newscast. I mean, look at that. So if you can get a picture this morning, definitely post it in our Coastal Bend Weather Watchers group, and we'll be happy to share it in our newscast. Well, temperatures and feels likes this morning, 55 here in Corpus Christi, also the same for Mathis and George West. We're looking at 53 for San Diego, and Falfurrias 54 in Hebbronville, and 59 for Ingleside. Closer to 58, we're looking at Freer and Beeville, but once again, a little warmer near the coast, 70 for Port Aransas. Our feels like temperatures will start to increase this afternoon, closer to 12 and 4. Once again, we will be starting to reach those 80s, mid-80s across our neighborhoods headed into Saturday. A little bit of a warming trend on the way. As far as the nighttime, we'll actually spend the most time feeling like the 60s. That will carry us from 10 till 4 a.m. right before tomorrow's sunrise. If you're walking your dog this morning, this is Walter. He's from B County. It's going to be a great time to walk your dog anytime. We only increase 10 degrees between 8 and 10, and then into our noon hour, we will be at 81 degrees. So looking at highs across your neighborhood, you can expect those upper 70s and upper 80s as well. Average is 79, so we will be a little bit warmer in our neighborhoods. You could take a look at our hour by hour, hitting 84 by 1 o'clock. That will take us into 4 o'clock as well in those 80s before getting back into the 70s in the forecast by 5 o'clock tonight.
It's been a long season without a home for the Alice Coyotes. I'm Melissa Trevino, your neighborhood news reporter in Alice. Their new home is under construction. I spoke with officials about the progress and when it could be finished. It's been nearly 5 months since the home for the Alice Coyotes started getting a makeover. Out with the old and in with the new. And the new includes a new stadium that will now hold up to 6,000 seats. Once completed, the new stadium will be standing tall thanks to voters who voted yes to a bond which passed last year. But not everyone in Alice voted yes.
I think money can be spent better in terms of the infrastructure for the facilities for our students, our house, 12 months out of the year.
Alice resident Orsimo Castillo tells me while the project is moving forward, he still questions how the community has prioritized sports ahead of academics.
And a stadium, it's important, but it shouldn't be a priority.
As a former high school football player himself, he says he understands how big the sport is. He admits the new stadium was needed, but has now left the Coyotes without a home field.
You can't build a stadium overnight. It's an inconvenience that you have to put up with, but in the end, you're going to have a facility that's going to house, the Coyotes and any other event.
While it might not look like much, construction crews tell me they've done a lot of work you can't see. But take a glance from the construction zone, and you will be able to see the visitors' side concession stands, press box labs, and just one of many upgrades taking place right now.
They deserve it because they work real hard. They're football players. They go to practice at the wee hours, and they practice weekends, days.
Other community members like Valentina Trejo Trevino, whose son played and grandson currently plays for the Coyotes, says it's money well spent, especially for the kids who put their hearts into the game.
The stadium is really important for the children. It's about time they did something good like that here in Alice.
A construction site, she says she's proud of what she sees. School officials tell me the stadium is expected to be completed by May. In Alice, I'm Melissa Trevino, your neighborhood news reporter, Chris 6 News.
Now, 6 things to know before you go.
Well, today officially marks day 36 of the federal government shutdown, and that makes it officially the longest government shutdown in American history. The previous record holder was a 35-day stint in 2018 during President Trump's first term. In that case, the standoff was over funding for the border wall. And this time, Republicans and Democrats are still at an impasse over extending subsidies under the Affordable Care Act that are set to expire. Sources behind the scenes have indicated that some progress is being made between the two sides. Well, the Supreme Court will hear arguments today on whether President Trump has overstepped federal law with many of his tariffs. And Trump has used tariffs, or even just the threat of them, leveraging them to advance his economic agenda and foreign policy goals. The tariffs have helped Trump force countries to crack down on drug smuggling and even helped broker ceasefire deals, according to the administration. The rules against him could limit or even take away the political leverage. Earlier on this year, 2 lower courts and most judges on the U.S. Court of Appeals ruled that Trump did not have the power to set tariffs. However, the import taxes were left in place until the Supreme Court weighs in. The Trump administration is providing $24 million in emergency assistance to countries hit by Hurricane Melissa. It breaks down to $12 million in assistance for Jamaica, $8.5 million for Haiti, and $3 million for Cuba. and $500,000 for the Bahamas. The funding will be used for housing, water, food, sanitation, and emergency health care. Neighbors that were forced to evacuate in Gregory can now return home. Mayor Estelle Boys says that neighbors can safely return to their homes and should begin documenting fire-related damage. The fire broke out Wednesday at the Gregory Gin Company, forcing evacuations in several neighborhoods. The city has partnered up with Church Unlimited in Portland for donations. So if you'd like to donate, they're accepting things like clothing, toiletries, cleaning supplies, and non-perishable food. Residents in need can get a voucher over at Gregory City Hall with a photo ID. Well, the city of Rockport is warning residents and businesses about fraudulent invoices that appear to be coming from the city. These fake documents may reference construction projects or variance applications, which are requests to modify zoning or building requirements, and they request payment by wire transfer. So if you received a suspicious message, do not respond or send any payment. Delete it immediately and change your password. As a precaution, verify any invoice or payment request with the city of Rockport directly. The city of Corpus Christi will be hosting their Litter Critter Free Cleanup event this weekend. It's going to take place Saturday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. over at Veterans Memorial High School. Items that are accepted are brush, bulk items, household trash, tires, and metal items. Items that are not accepted are household hazardous waste and concrete. Commercial hauling, that's not allowed. For more information, visit cctexas.com. On to what is trending now, folks. Halloween is over, which means it is time to start thinking about Christmas. I know both Michelle and Diamond already have that in their minds. Well, how about Spencer's Gifts, right? Which owns Spirit Halloween. It's opening up 30 Spirit Christmas stores across 12 states. A company spokesperson says that all of the stores should be open within the next week. Customers will be able to find decorations and stocking stuffers, as well as getting your picture taken with Santa himself. Some of the stores will open in pre-existing Spirit Halloween stores, while others will be new locations. The stores will be open through the end of the year. I haven't been to Spirit Christmas yet, but Spirit Halloween stores always pretty cool. I'm more of a DIY guy myself, though. Like a lot of the decorations around our house, especially for like Halloween.
Yes.
I made myself or printed them out with a 3D printer, or going to the dollar store and just a bit of hot glue and some glitter, and oh, fantastic.
Call it a day.
Yes, ma'am.
It was. You had great decorations, actually. If you didn't get to see them, maybe he'll give you a sneak peek.
Yeah, no, we post them on our news profiles. Too,
Yeah,
so you'll be able to see.
They're very creative. And yes, Christmas is my favorite holiday. But if we're talking weather-wise, we got to warm up before we even cool off again. So we can't even jump to December yet. We got to still stay focused on November. We have our live look outside our First Community Bank Skycam over the USS Lexington. We had a great view not too long ago of our beaver moon this morning. We'll try to get another capture throughout our day, but we'll have some also posted online. Beautiful sunrise approaching there in our neighborhoods. Well, hope you enjoy your Wednesday overall. I'll give you a look into your forecast. Feels likes and temperatures. We're hanging out in the 50s for a lot of our neighborhoods, including Corpus Christi at 56. Same, Robstown at 56 as well. We're looking at 55 for Kingsville and George West, 54 for Hebbronville, 70 for Port Aransas. Those feels like temperatures will be pretty close to our actual air temperature because it's drier outside, and our current winds are also pretty light, and they're going to remain light until around 4 o'clock this afternoon when they start to pick up headed into the evening, but only around 13 miles per hour. Now the feels like temperatures headed into our afternoon will be in the 80s. We'll be in the 70s for a brief period, but those 60s will take us from 10 p.m. up until 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. For our forecast highs, we're looking at once again 87 for here in Corpus Christi, also same for Freer, but closer to 77 for Aransas Pass and Port Aransas. But most of our neighbors will be in those mid to upper 80s for the most part, and that average is 79. As we look at our hour by hour, once again, we'll get into those 70s by 9 o'clock this morning, out of the 70s by our noon hour, 84 by 1 o'clock. That's where we usually are starting to see our high of the day, and that will last up until 4 o'clock. And then those 70s come back into the forecast by 5 o'clock at 79 degrees. Now, muggy meter wise, we're going to gradually climb from muggy to humid to very humid before we take a sharp decline into that drier region. Headed into Sunday, those dew points will definitely come down with that cold front. It's not a strong cold front, but it will drop our temperatures, but it also impacts our rain chances. We don't really have any in the forecast this week, so rain is going to remain a little bit on the unlikely end for us. So I know you're probably looking forward to some rain, but that's just not in store for us right now. With those forecast high temperatures, as I mentioned, we'll stay above normal through about Sunday, even though we will notice a difference in temperature Sunday, but Monday and Tuesday will be below normal for us. So looking at those next 7 days out, we just got to get through the warmth, because Friday and Saturday, Brian, we're looking at the low 90s.
All right, not too bad.
I know it's feeling like summer.
Yeah.
We need more fall weather.
That's all right. Michelle would be happy with that.
Yeah, she does like warmer weather.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Simon. Thank you for tuning in, folks. Michelle and I will be off until Monday, but don't worry, we have some comparable people heading off the desk. We'll see you soon.